number 1 is the natural turn. We'd like to demonstrate it for you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from a different angle, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'd like to discuss some of the gentleman's technique. So gentlemen, we're starting off diagonal center. Your weight is on your left leg, the standing leg. Now from this position, we're not only using a linear motion forward, but we're also using our range of motion. So through your left leg, knee, thigh, and hip are going to start rotating as we shift our center weight forward. This creates the lead through our range of motion, telling the lady that we are turning to the right, and it also enables us to position the lady to the inside of turn. Now, from this point, we're going to go into a pendulum action, which is our sway, but I want to emphasize the degree of sway in this dance is far less than we use in waltz because of the speed of the dance. So as I lower through my left leg, through the range of motion, when I land on my right leg, there's a slight, very slight hint that my right hip is going to start shaping downward. As it starts shaping downward, my left leg overtakes my right, and the left side swings out ahead. And now I simply close my feet. So I'll try that from a different angle. So again, we have our linear motion, where my weight is shifting forward into my right foot. I'm using my range of motion through my left knee, thigh, and hip. And I step forward on my right foot, placing the lady to the inside of turn. Now, at this point, again, I don't want to put the hip down as much as I would in waltz, again, because of the speed of the dance. There's a slight hint that the right hip is going to start shaping slightly downward, but very, very slight. As my left leg starts to overtake my right, the left side swings out ahead. You'll notice my blocks of weight are lined up, and now I close my feet. Now, from this position, you'll notice that my body has underturned with my right side slightly forward, enabling me to use a range of motion to produce the next action. So as I use my range of motion, my sway will dissolve from my prior position, and it also enables me to place myself to the inside of turn. So I'm going to do this facing the camera here. So as I lower, you'll notice my body position, my right side slightly forward. I rotate, my sway is dissolving. Now once I get into this position, I'm going to feel as I transfer full weight to my left foot. Head, shoulder, hip, and foot are anchored slightly downward because I'm on the inside of the turn. So I'm curving out of the lady's way because she has a greater distance to travel. I anchor that axis point. Now from here, it's at this point where my left hip is slightly lower than my right. My right foot goes out into position. I draw the foot in flat, anchoring the turn because I am on the inside of turn. So I'll repeat that again. So again, as I use my range of motion, I'm dissolving the sway. As I arrive on my left foot, head, shoulder, hip, and foot anchor that position. I open the door, again, being aware that my step size must be relative to the lady on the outside. I do not want to try and overstride or turn my center too quickly because I will start to pull the lady if she's not with me. Okay, so once I open the side here, now from here I anchor that leg, it comes in flat, and I close my feet. You'll notice that I have a slight angle and sway through my closing position. Now I'd like Heather to discuss with the ladies their technique.
The ladies' technique for the natural turn. First of all, get the weight balanced on the feet, blocks of weight lined up. Now then, what's important about this very first step when you're moving back, ladies, and you're starting to use your hips to rotate, to aim that leg down the line of dance, is at what time you lower your back heel. This is a very, very important point because the majority of the time what I come across, because the dance is so fast, You have got to keep your weight into your legs, but you must not lower your back heel until your moving leg has passed underneath your body. And one of the biggest faults that I see is that the ladies lower their heel too fast. So ladies, one of the things you can focus on, because of the speed of the dance and because of the repetitive action, we need to be very, very aware of our center weight between our feet until the moving leg comes in. So if you notice my left heel, this is one of the hardest exercises to do, is to not lower that heel until that moving leg has come in. All right, so we'll start off the action now. So we have the rotation. I am my left foot down the line of dance. My head is placed on my left leg. Now, because I'm on the inside of turn, I allow my leg out ahead of my body, but if you notice, my body is turned less. My head is still over my left foot. I use strong pressure on the inside edge of my right foot to draw my left foot into a close. Now, if you notice, when I have this shape, I do not transfer weight to my right foot, allowing my head to move to my right. I hold my position with my head over my left side, pressure on the inside of the leg and thigh, drawing my right foot into a close. Now then, I'm on the outside of the turn. I'm going to use my range of motion to get my center and my direction moving down the line of dance. Like Victor has already mentioned to you, this dance is very, very fast. We don't have the time to actually change the angle of the hips as much as we do in waltz. This is much more of a directional dance with turn at the end. So one of the things I like to think about is back, back, turn, forward, forward, turn, back, back, turn, forward, forward, turn. So as you're moving forward, you're not going to spin off this leg and turn, but simply think about directing your weight forward before you turn. So we're going to go back, back, turn, forward, forward, turn. Now then, as I've already mentioned, in the backward action, the foot stays very flat because we're on the inside of the turn. Not only is that a requirement, but once I've lowered my heel here, you see, with having the foot low, then I am already preparing with my legs to move forward. Another fault that we have, whether we're turning to the left or to the right, is when we close our feet, ladies, and we're up at this point, and then the music is playing fast and we come off with our right leg, as opposed to using weight and power out of the standing leg. All right, now then, my forward action in this step, as I step forward down the line, I point my left foot out ahead of my body using my hips. You can see now I'm going to draw in a very, very low heel as I come to a close. And my head is still left. And now I'd like to invite Victor back and we'll try this again together.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd like to just emphasize a few more points of technique. Now, one of the exercises that we use to keep the spacing of our heads consistent, where we're swaying correctly in a balanced position, is Heather will place her right arm over my right shoulder. This gives us a barrier that I cannot bring my head too far over onto her side, and of course she cannot do the same. So as we lower and rotate, I'm being very aware that this is her space and her lane, so even though I sway and change the angle, I'm being aware not to take my weight too far over onto her path. I change, 4, 5, 6. It's a very, very good exercise to keep your spacing, and of course, being aware of inside and outside of turn. Now, the other point that I'd like to make for your Viennese waltz in your natural turn is that the two factors that you're always trying to keep in balance will be your linear, progressive movement and rotation. The problem a lot of couples have is that one factor tends to dominate the other. So this is incorrect. Let me over-accentuate rotation. Where we become purely rotational, you can see how small the step size is. So our linear directional movement is very, very small. So you can see that the rotation has become the dominant force of our movement. We want to keep the actions balanced. Now, the other example would be the turn is very, very late, where we become very progressive distance-wise, but then we cannot get around each other, and consequently we start to move into the center. So please keep in mind when we're talking about rotation and, of course, our linear movement forward or back, we're trying to keep the two actions in balance, so visually it looks like a very smooth movement forward or back. So we'll try that one more time for you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the natural turn.